So, welcome to this webinar, and it's we from the Swedish Association of Visually Impaired who's going to tell you a little about our organization and our work. And we will start with tell you some about the organization, about members and funding, and then we will talk about the advocacy work we do and the legal work which we also use in the advocacy work, and a little about communication and some about how we work with the EBU issues. And we are glad that you are here today to listen to us, and we will we will be a few some people who will be talking today. It's Cecilia, and it's Lennart, and it's Amanda and Maria. And we will also, if we have time enough, then there'll be time for questions in the end. And I'm Niklas Mattsson. I am the president of the Swedish Association of Visually Impaired. I leave the word to you, Cecilia.
Thank you, Niklas. And my name is Cecilia Ekstrand, and I work as an advocacy officer here in the main office of SRF. I would like to share some slides if it's possible. Is that okay, Valerie? You can see my slides, or?
Yes, I can see it. Thank you, Cecilia.
Do you see? Wait, I just want to. Okay, I keep it like that. Swedish Association of the Visually Impaired, SRF, was founded in 1889. And we are a non-governmental Swedish organization, and our organization is run by visually impaired themselves. SRF is the main association of blind and partially sighted people in Sweden. SRF is a religiously and politically independent association that takes distance from all forms of discrimination. The work and the aim of SRF is to work for a society for all according to the rights in the CRPD. We work with advocacy within the fields of rehabilitation, education, vocational training, employment, and digitalization. We offer our members legal support, social activities, braille courses, courses for parents, summer camps for children, travel service, and training for local board members. SRF has a board consisting of 13 members, 6 women and 7 men, with visual impairments from different parts of Sweden. The board is led by a full-time employed president. The board is elected by the Congress, held every 3rd year. The Congress is the highest decision-making body. We have our next Congress in October this year. SRF is organized in 3 levels with 110 local branches, 23 district branches, and 1 national office. We have 11 national branch associations linked to our national organization. We support networks for low vision and for visual impairment and additional disabilities. At the end of 2023, SRF had 11,486 individual members from 0 up to 100 years. Full members with visual impairment were 8,304 and supportive members 3,182. The majority of our members are over 65. Only 571 were 31 years or younger. Approximately 64% were women. Since most of our members are elderly, there is also a youth association linked to SRF, the Swedish Association of Visually Impaired Youth. And we cooperate with them in different ways. Our head office is located a bit south of the center of Stockholm. We rent the premises. We are 58 employed here in the office. 21 have a visual impairment and 37 are sighted. Our districts and some local branches have employees too. The office is led by a management group consisting of the head of office and 4 department managers. The work in the office is organized in 4 departments, 1 advocacy department, including the international cooperation and international development work. We have projects in Rwanda, Tanzania, Nicaragua, Botswana, and Ethiopia. And there is 1 marketing and communication department with responsibility for our fundraising activities, donations, and internal and external communications. And we have 1 department responsibility for support and activities for members, and 1 department with responsibility for administration, such as finances and personal matters. We have a synlinje, a vision line, which is that we offer guidance by phone or email to members or the public. They can ask all sorts of questions about visual impairment, and up to now we have had 770 calls or emails this year. We do also have a Nordic cooperation with the other Nordic countries within the Nordic Cooperation Committee, and we are active in the linked working groups. Something about our finances. 2023, the total income for SRF was 110,900,000 Swedish crowns, which is 9,269,112 euro. And we get the income from funds, mostly governmental funding, which was 70,495,000 Swedish crowns, which is 6,223,105 euros. And we receive donations, which was 37,759,000 Swedish crowns, and that is 3 million, I'm sorry, it's wrong on the slide, 3,333,000 261 euro. And since 2011, we distribute a calendar with puppies to a lot of people, and people can donate money if they want to. They do not have to buy this calendar. We just ask for a donation, and the amount has increased every year. And we do also send out a couple of collection letters with different themes and ask for donations to those who have donated earlier. One letter about Braille and education last year gave us nearly 2.5 million crowns. And we also receive wills. And of course, we receive membership fees, 720,000 Swedish crowns, which is 63,560 euros. And then we receive other money from foundations and so on, which was 1,954,000 Swedish crowns. That is 172,494 euros. In 2023, SRF had responsibilities for guide dogs, which generated both income and costs. And from April this year, we do not have this responsibility anymore. So this will affect, of course, both income and costs. Our total costs for 2023 were 105 million Swedish crowns, which is 9,269,112 euros. And the costs were for the Braille activities, guide dogs, material for study circles, etc., for 30,565,000 Swedish crowns, which is 2,698,194 euros. And for the communication and fundraising, the costs were 28,130,000 Swedish crowns, which is 2.4 million euros. And we also have support to our regional branches for 14,253,000 Swedish crowns, which is 1.2 million euros. And we have support for our members, 13,886,000 Swedish crowns, and that is 1.2 million euros. And the advocacy work costs 10 million Swedish crowns, which is 883,000 euro. And we have our international activities, international cooperation, and our projects for 8,229,000 Swedish crowns, approximately 726,000 euros. And the results for 2023 was 8.6 million Swedish crowns, which is 759,000 euro. And the turnover for SRF was 102.8 million Swedish crowns, which is 9,074 euro. 9,074,902 euros. So that was a little background about SRF, our organization, and our finances. And now we will continue with our advocacy work. And I think we have Lennart ready for this.
Okay, thank you. My name is Lennart Karlsson, and I work as an advocacy officer or political officer, if you prefer that term. And we are 4 people in this position, and we cover different areas of interest. So my main areas are the labor market and also the services that are important for people with visual impairment in or run by the municipalities or the local authorities. First of all, I like to say that our work has become more difficult during the last years because the social climate in society has become more harsh, and also the political life has become more complicated. So it's harder to do this advocacy work, and also big issues like the climate crisis and the national security situation and gang crime takes a lot of space in the debate, in the political debate, and that means that such issues as that are important for us, connected to human rights and equal opportunities, has not so much space. It's difficult to put them forward. So we have to find many different ways to advocate for the things that people with visual impairment needs in their daily life. So that's the situation, and I think you might recognize it from your countries as well. It's become more difficult. So we have to use different means, different methods in order to get through and to really get contact with people in power. And I'm gonna talk about what we do right now, and also things that we try to develop. Traditionally, we have worked with formal contacts with authorities and politicians. That is scheduled dialogues, and for example, we respond to reports, investigations, and referrals from the government. We write letters, of course, to ministers and so on. And we have also worked with opinion activities like debate articles, seeking contacts with journalists, and things like that. And during recent years, also being active as an organization on social media. So that's traditional ways of working. And we have also made our own investigations about matters that are important for us and our members, and presenting them and also using them, these facts about the life of blind and visually or partially sighted people. But this is not enough, we have found. These ways of working is not enough to influence politics. And so we have to think in new ways. And I'm gonna give an example, a practical example of one issue that we are currently working with, and that have become an increasing problem for our members. We since maybe 10 years, it has become more difficult for our members to get guiding services. Guiding services, it's to have a companion who will escort you if you have to perform daily activities like go shopping and go out for a walk, exercise. Maybe you have to go to the doctor or to the pharmacy, things like that everybody has to do, but that might be difficult if you're visually impaired. And you can not always rely on close relatives or friends. So in order to be independent, you can apply at the local authorities at your municipality for a guide to get this guide service from your local authorities. The problem is that our municipalities has become to interpret the existing laws very restrictively, more and more for every year. And now to the point that the laws does not really serve their purpose. The laws used, it doesn't serve the purpose very good, and people many people are denied services or get their hours decreased. So the freedom to move and to participate in different activities has gone down. Our members don't have that at the extent that they used to have. And it has become more and more serious, this situation. So we have to try to change the existing laws because they are not working properly anymore. And we started this work several years ago, but until recently, nothing really happened. There was some investigations about it and so on, but nothing really. There was no really change. But 2 years ago, the previous government decided to make a new investigations about how guiding services had developed during the last years, and this investigations was finished a little bit more than 1 year ago, and as we already knew, they found that the existing laws does not really apply very well to people with visual impairment, and they proposed that a new law should be investigated, especially regulating guiding services for primarily blind and partially sighted people. So this happened last year, but the problem was that the government there had been an election recently then, and the new government didn't show any real interest in bringing this proposal forward and start to investigate the new law. So that we has had as a challenge now recently, and we then decided that we have to try to raise opinion and make many different activities in different areas in order to bring this issue up. So we have one thing that we decided was that we have to have more contacts with more people in power, meeting more, have more individual meetings with members of parliament, trying to get dialogues also with ministers, and spreading the work to more people within the organization. So we encouraged our regional branches to seek contact with their MPs from their part of the country and also bring up this issue. And we also try to pay more attention to cases where blind or partially sighted had been denied guiding services or been discriminated in some ways. And this we did together with our lawyer we have within the organization who gives legal support to people. And cases that we got to know about that way, sometimes we could bring them up and give them more publicity and so on, and showing that the laws does not really work as they should do right now. And we also arranged a seminar within the Swedish Parliament with members of Parliament on this topic, and we think that this all together had put this a little bit higher on the agenda for the politicians. What happened then was that this summer in June, the guiding services for blind people was debated in the parliament, and a majority in the parliament called the government to act and to start on investigations about the new law. So that's what happened in June, and that's a step forward, of course, but the problem is that we still don't see any activity from the government. And this call from the parliament does not mean that the government has to act. It's not, they're not forced to act. So now we're discussing new ways of bringing the issue up and more so that more people can highlight this. We're talking about how to get more individual members to be able to participate, maybe by way of social media, maybe by other types of actions. So that's what we're discussing right now. And the aim is, of course, to get a law to get a law investigated and hopefully in place, but it's still a very big challenge for us. So even if we use different ways and different methods, it's still very hard for us. And at this point, I would like to invite Amanda, who our communication officer, we can call her, and also she has also contacts with your press and media. And maybe you can tell a little bit about this work we do, connecting cases from our lawyer and the work we do in order to raise opinion and so on.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Amanda Sjölin. I am the Press and Communications Officer based in the national office of the organization. I was actually wondering, since we are not that many people in here, if I think it would be interesting to know who I'm speaking to. If we could do a very, very brief presentation round and just say our name and where we work, if that is okay.
Yes, that's okay. Thank you, Amanda. Maybe I can tell the names of everyone, and you can introduce yourself. My name, to start with, is Valerie Bertrand-Vivancos, and I'm the EBU Membership Officer. And moving on to Sradana from Croatian Blind Union.
Okay, yeah. Hi, my name is Srdjana. I'm new at the Croatian Blind Union, and we want to find out some of your activities and maybe find someone to do networking and maybe some mutual projects. So yes, here we are. Nice to meet you all.
Maria Chotang. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Maria Chotang. No. Ville. Okay. Maybe I'm mispronouncing the names. Monica Lovey.
Hello, I'm Monica Louis. I'm a board member of Estonian Blind Union, and we have always had very good contact with Swedish organizations, so I'm really interested in your work.
Maria, I guess from the board.
Okay, Maria Torstensson.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a member of the Swedish board, and also I'm a Secretary General in the EBU board.
Thank you. Christakis? No? Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon also from me, from Cyprus. I'm happy to be with you today again, and thank you very much for the information from Swedish Association of Visually Handicapped, which we know very well also because we cooperate with the association in many different things, from sports to other activities in Braille and so on. Something I wanted to know, if we have time, is what is the position of the association on the education of children with disability, visual impairment, and if they can tell us how is the inclusion in Sweden implemented in practice. Thank you very much.
We will come to questions in the end of the session. So I think this is a fairly short presentation that Amanda asked for. So
yes, because sometimes it feels like you talk into space in these kind of meetings. But yeah, I can start, and if anyone else want to introduce themselves, we can do it after I'm done.
Shall we carry on? Sorry, Amanda. Shall we carry on the round of presentations, or do you want to start?
I can start, and we can, if anyone else wants to introduce themselves, they can do it afterwards when I'm done. Maybe it was interesting to hear what different countries are represented here. Feels a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest when the Eurovision introduces itself. But anyway, I'm the press officer. I started in November last year, so I haven't even worked the full year yet. I'm not myself visually impaired, so I'm learning new interesting things every day from my colleagues, especially the visually impaired ones. We also have one person who cannot participate today in this webinar, and that is Anna Kvarnström, who is our legal advisor, our lawyer, who is employed within the organization. So I'm going to take a few minutes in the beginning now to tell you about her work as well, because it's very much connected to what I do. So we have a legal advisor employed since a few years back. And the purpose to have a legal advisor is to provide necessary support to the visually impaired community. And initially, the legal advisor was intended, her position was intended to be more focused on like the bigger strategic cases in order to strengthen rights and widening laws through legal practices. But circumstances which Lennart, my colleague, was speaking about, such as cuts in the welfare sector, has made the selection of these cases proven to be difficult. And so now legal aid is given to everyone who needs it, as long as it's seen, judicially possible, and if we are able to do good, so to speak. So as a result of that, the organization is constantly aware of the current situations of rights for visually impaired, and both in theory and in practice. And strategic cases have also been put forth on several issues, such as, for example, migrant rights and discrimination, just to name a couple. The work also ensures a steady flow of cases that can be used for media and communication cover to highlight and put forth specific issues. And our organization is one of very few disability organizations in Sweden that actually offer legal advice on cases. And to move over to my areas, I'm going to give a few examples of legal cases that we have also successfully used in communicating and raising awareness to our issues. One example is a woman called Evelina. She lives in the north of Sweden in a city called Piteå. It's in the very, very high north, where there's no sun in the winter, no daylight. She deals with deaf blindness. She's deaf and blind. And she used to get help from the municipality because she needs help to, for example, just get outside, go grocery shopping, go for a walk, and to get to her place of where she has a subsidized employment. And her help was a woman who knew tactile sign language. So it was someone that she was able to communicate with. But from one day to another, the municipality turned and said, you will now not be given this help. You will be helped by something called hemtjänst, which is a more regular service that a lot of elderly people in Sweden have that need help in the house. The problem was just that this help didn't have any knowledge in tactile language. So people would come into her home to help her, that she had no way to communicate with, because she's deaf and blind, so she needs to communicate through tactile sign language. This was really bizarre, and she was, of course, devastated. Took a big toll on her mental health. She had no light prospect for her future whatsoever. We did, though, get a big media coverage on this case, both in regional media, in national TV, and now the municipality, after a lot of debate and a lot of media coverage, are hopefully thinking again and helping her through someone she can actually speak to. Another example is a man called Matthias. He lives more in the south of Sweden, a small city called Vårgårda. He is blind and used to get help with guiding service until the municipality said, no, you will get 0 hours, you will not get any guiding service at all. There was a lot of media in his case too, and hopefully things are looking to change for him as well. Another example was Matthias, who lives like in the middle, a little bit north, but in the middle of Sweden, a city called Hudiksvall. He is visually impaired, but severely. He has 20% vision in one eye and no vision in the other eye, but he works as a chef. And logically, you cannot work as a chef remote. You need to be in your place of work to make food. So he lived in the countryside, but he had help from transport services until the region one day said, no, we will not give you any transport services, leaving him with the threat of being unemployed, because how will he get to work when he's almost blind? He works as a chef. But even that had a big media coverage, had a lot of media coverage. And even there, we are seeing glimpses of hope that he will actually be able to keep his transport service to get him to work every day, and therefore hopefully keep his job. This is also a very, it's bizarre in many ways, because if he's out of a job, he's someone that the taxpayers have to support, whereas if he has a job, he could support himself and pay taxes, you know. So, but these are a few examples. We don't always use the specific people if they don't want to go forth and speak to the media. We could also use like examples of the motivations which they get in their denials. For example, Venet were speaking about the guiding service and the work we do there. A few years back, we had a member applying for guiding service to go to a concert, because this person was afraid that if he went alone, how would he find a toilet, for example, in the public space? And he was denied. And they said, well, if you're afraid of not finding the toilet, why don't you use a diaper to go to this concert? An adult diaper. This was a person with no issues. He was just, blind. Very bizarre motivation, which we used to get a big opinion piece published in Swedish and in the biggest newspaper in Sweden recently, last week, actually. So sometimes we just use these examples to highlight how bizarre the situation has become. We also send out press releases. We work with, I work a lot of contacting media with press releases and contact with specific journalists that show interest in our topics and try to get them to write or report about our important issues to hopefully long-term change the situation. And we have, like, as you probably know, specific days: the World Braille Day, the Day of the White Cane, that we also try to highlight in different ways to press releases and debates and opinion pieces and social media, etc. Yeah, so that's a little bit how we work with communication and press. And another example is to comment on big political events. For example, this week, the government will present the national budget for last year. And we will, of course, read it very thoroughly and see if they are improving anything for us, and we will probably send out press releases. I wanted to take just a minute or two in the end and see if you have any questions about our communication work.
Well, we let the questions wait a little, and we say welcome Maria Torstensson to tell about.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Finally, I will tell you very shortly about our work together with EBU. As I said in the beginning here, I am active as the Secretary General in the board of EBU. We are a member of the Braille Working Group, which is a very active group. And we have also been involved and active in the working group with accessible payment terminals, which is connected to the former LC, Liaison Commission, today AC, Advocacy Committee. We have also been involved in the network of low vision, as we have also we have been active in the women's network. Of course, we are also active. We have been active in the Commission of LC, as today is AC, as I said before. One thing that is very important is the communication, that the communication doesn't stop where you are active, and so that it comes up to the board in our country, and like as it comes up to the board in EBU, so that we can work together with these questions, because these are questions that we are working inside our country, but together we will be stronger if we work with it in the big organization EBU. Yes, I think that's all from me. Niklas?
Yes.
Thank you, Maria.
So you were done, Maria?
Yes, I'm done.
Yes. Then I think it's time for some questions, if there are, and I think it is. But first, then we can continue that what Amanda asked for. Maybe Valerie, there's some people who didn't say anything.
Yeah, maybe if you want to ask questions and introduce yourself at the same time, that could be a way to do it.
Yeah, we can do like that. So, who's first?
Yeah, so may I, Valerie?
Yes, of course, Nacho.
Yes, so hello to our dear colleagues from our Swedish member. My name is Nacho Lopez, the External Communications Officer of EBU. It's nice to meet you. I will just like to make two questions. The first one is our Swedish member took part in the PARVIS project that we carried out between 2021 and 2022. And the philosophy of that project was to promote the rights of blind and partially sighted people by using accessible communication materials. I would just like to ask, in general, how much accessible are comms materials in Sweden? Are they accessible enough? Do visually impaired people in Sweden have problems to get access to information? Could you please give us a kind of a state of the matter on that subject?
Well, Lennart, can you say something or?
Well, yes. Well, I could try to answer. Yes, of course there is problems for people in in Sweden to get accessible information, accessible materials. And I would say that since the majority of our members are elderly people, it's a bigger issue how people should get material, because they don't use that much, you know, electronic communication means and computers and smartphones and so on. So yeah, so there is a problem. I would say it's quite a big problem, and that's also one of the reasons why we fight for better education for people blind and partially sighted in order to use more digital equipment. But it's a long way to go. Was that what was?
Yes,
That's good. And we also have, you know, one thing that you might, well, that should also be raised, I think, on a European level, is information connected to, you know, crisis situations, because then it's really fundamental to get the right information. And we don't have a system for that in Sweden now. We want the government to appoint one authority that should be responsible to make more information accessible, even in crisis, and the system for that. So and I think we have the same problems in many countries. So, and this is becoming more urgent every day, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much, Lena. The second thing, it's not a question per se, but I discussed with my colleague Valerie about posting a social media post through our channels, just to let our audience know that this meeting took place. So I just would like to ask if it's okay with you for me to just take a capture of the screen gallery, so I can use it afterwards as a picture for my post.
Yes, of course.
Yes, and of course, if you just don't wish to appear on the screen, you just kind of turn it off. So I'm going to do it now.
But if you want to appear, you can turn your camera on.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. So just let me know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, wait a second. Yes, that's it.
Anyone else having a question?
There was a question before, so
yeah, about communication. No, it wasn't communication.
It was about education.
Education,
I think
yeah.
Christakis had a question. Yeah. Would you like to say your question again, Christakis?
Yes, I'm here again. My question is about the implementation of inclusion of children with disabilities in Sweden. If the organization is involved in the procedure of inclusion in the education, and how it is implemented in Sweden. It is a country we hear that a lot has been done, but we don't know, we don't have exact information how it is implemented. I know you have competence centers and you have centers to educate or to support teachers and so on. And finally, if the system in Sweden is like in other countries like Finland, that every school is autonomous, is independent from the Ministry of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. I will try to answer these questions. And if you don't think that the answer is enough, I can write to you afterwards, Christakis, because I don't think we have so much time. But I will say a few words. In Sweden, we have an inclusive education, and this is stated in the Swedish Education Act. And it's also based on the right for all children to reach their full potential. So all children who are blind or partially sighted without additional disabilities, they attend mainstream schools. We have only one national special school for children with visual impairment and additional disabilities with about 25 pupils. But no child is placed in a special school. The parents must apply for the child to be accepted to this special school. So all the other children, they go to mainstream schools, and all the schools have to follow the national Swedish Education Act. Then it might be like you mentioned, that every municipality, every school, they have their own budget. So if the money is not enough for all the support that the children need, then they might differ a lot depending on where in Sweden you live. In one school, you might have all the support you need, and in the other school, in another municipality, you don't get enough support. So it's like you describe, we have this act that you have to follow, but when it comes to the finances and the attitudes also from the headmaster, it differs, and that affects the children. So children in the Swedish schools, they face a lot of challenges. For example, they do not receive their books in Braille at the same time as the other classmates, because it's a very, very long process to produce the Braille books. So they do not have an education on equal terms. And we try in many ways to influence and to work for an education for all and for all the support that children need. So yeah, that's a little bit about, so I can write to you, Christakis, if you want to have more information. And we have this competence center, the resource centers with courses for teachers. They have courses for Braille reading children. They have courses and meetings for parents. So there are a lot of support, and also the regional low vision clinics, they offer support to parents so that they can support the children.
Thank you, Cecilia. And then we
Thank you.
listen if there's any other one who's got a question.
If no one has a question, I would like to know more about your interaction with the Nordic Committee. If you could give us a little indication of the work you do together and how you support each other.
Well, all the Nordic countries, we have, is it 3 meetings per year, I think, where 2 people from the board in every association for visually impaired in the Nordic countries meet and discuss issues that we think we can see how we can work together with if there's look like in our countries. But Cecilia or Maria, you can say something more if you want.
This cooperation
Yes.
has been going on for over 100 years, so it's a very, very long cooperation. And also this cooperation, every second year we have an extended Nordic conference about different teams. So next year we will have a conference about employment in Norway, where we have 10 people from each country who gather, and we have a lot of discussions and we exchange experiences and so on. And then there are 3 groups under this committee. One group for youth, and they had a meeting in Finland this weekend. And there is a group for diversity and equality, and they will meet Thursday, Friday, also in Finland. And then there is a working group about the international development work, and they had a meeting in Norway in the beginning of this year.
We'll have some meeting also here in this autumn.
What did you say?
I think they will have a meeting also now, but the Teams meeting in a few weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Any other questions from the participants?
If I may, again, Valerie, sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask a question to Amanda, because you mentioned the use you make of cases that you encounter in the daily lives of blind and partially sighted people in Sweden in order to raise awareness about their daily problems, daily challenges, and so on. I just wanted to know more about the use that you make of your social media tools in order to disseminate these cases and just also raise awareness to all stakeholders involved in this area or in this subject.
So we mostly use Facebook,
Mhm.
and we have a national Facebook page, our Association for the Visually Impaired, with I think a bit more than 7,000 followers.
Mhm.
And we're active on there almost daily. And we share everything, not everything, not everywhere we appear in the media, but big national things, and also if there are regional examples with best practices, and this is a way to work. We work a little bit with video, film material, and we just try to find a balance between not only like the sub stories, the sad stories, but also this is possible. For example, we had a blind man running half a marathon without any physical contact with a guide, due to new technology from Google, which will give instructions in an AirPod, like big good news like that. But it's sometimes hard to find a balance between how much this is so wrong and this is sad, and not only sharing the bad stuff. I don't know if that was an answer to your question.
Yes, and well, just another question on that. I suppose that you are also in constant touch with journalists in Sweden to let them know about this kind of situations. And I suppose that, for example, I don't know, on occasions such as World Braille Day or White Cane Day, you also use these examples to raise awareness about these issues on Swedish media, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
cool. Perfect. Thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Valerie, I don't hear anyone else having a question, so.
Your mic is turned off, Valerie.
Huh.
I think Valerie is speaking, but her microphone is off.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we hear you.
Okay. I was just thank you everyone in Sweden for presenting your association. I personally learned a lot from it, and I hope the other participants did too. As I previously announced, this is recorded, so it will be available on replay for people who could not attend today. And just to conclude on a slightly different plane, I would like to encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to read the call for nomination for the new EBU structures, because this is a very important step in the life of EBU members and engagement in various processes. So the nomination deadline is on the 26th of this month. So please get involved.
Yes, we had our board meeting last Thursday, so we will nominate.
Great. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to introduce your organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much for letting us, and it has been a great webinar, and we thank you all for listening to us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.